Hello everyone, this is Darin Martineau here from ProMagicArt.com and MagicSecretsLive.com, same site. And today's podcast I'm going to talk about tips for selecting strong magic. Okay, first is the debates in the theories of magic among the question of, is it commercial and what is commercial magic, or is there such a thing? When you tailor your magic, you want to tailor the magic so that it's audience, so that it's magic your audience enjoys rather than just magic that you enjoy to do. Eugene Berger has said in his books, there are no commercial tricks, only commercial presentations, which I believe is very true. But there is the argument that, not just that there are no such thing as bad tricks, just bad magicians, but you can see some of the very best magicians using just standard stuff, because you get to the equation of the what, the how, and the why. Most importantly, the why. Okay? In your magic, you have the why, the how, and the why and the how are just as important as the what. Now, we're going to talk about Tommy Wonder quote. He said, "First you make your art, then you make it commercial." So you want to be artistic yet commercial. So the question lies, when does success have to do with quality? And you see all these magicians that, they're not very good at magic, but yet they're good at business. So you have to ask yourself these questions. Success is based on talent, ability, hard work, and chance. Being in the right place at the right time. Less is more. So I've seen many illusionists and magicians try to do 10 illusions or 10 effects in under 10 minutes. And many times it's just way too much. It's just overkill. It's too complex. It's too contrived. So you can just do a few more really good effects and you can milk the magic, like someone like a Jeff McBride, or like an examples of Christopher Hart, who just does 3 routines. He does a card manipulation act, a torn restored music paper, and his zombie effect with a hand. Then you have the element number 5 of magic and meaning. Refer to my other podcast on magic and meaning, where I go in depth on that. Okay? Now we're going to talk about number 6, entertaining magic. It's a quote from Chris Carey's book, Find the Stuff That's You. It takes more than jokes to be really funny, and it also more than just tricks to make magic. Many things contribute to achieving the goal of genuinely entertaining your audience. Some of them are: 1, enjoy your work. Enjoy your audience. 2, professional attitude. If you read Tarbell Volume 1, Harlan Tarbell talks about having the professional attitude. And that's why these classic books are important for us to get a solid foundation to become master magicians. There's a quote. The next one is on enthusiasm. Okay, and there's a quote. "Nothing is so contagious as enthusiasm. It moves stones, charms brutes. Enthusiasm is the genius of sincerity, and truth accomplishes no victories without it." That's from Edward George Earl Bulwer Lytton. Next point, enjoy your audience. Seen many magicians that just don't really enjoy what they do. Some are better off to just be creators in magic. And some people trying to be illusionists, and then they never even stepped on stage to find out they really just don't enjoy it. They enjoy doing other aspects of magic, such as becoming a mentalist and really finding yourself. And in my book, The Surreal Illusion System, I go into depth on it, from things from neo-magic artistry, S.H. Sharp. I talk about I won't get into it now, but I'll talk about it in another podcast, the 10 different types of magicians, such as the creator, the performer, the dealer, etc., the collector. We'll talk about it in other. It's a very important point for beginners. But this podcast is for beginners, intermediate, or advanced magicians, and that's what I hope to bring you all this value. On my website, you can join the free level and you can get access to over 58 free exclusive tutorials, as well as to check out my Surreal Illusion system, which is over 500 master magic tutorials. In other podcasts, I'm going to talk more about my content. I just released volume 3 of my advanced card magic, which I'm going to talk about in another podcast. So back to the point. Number 5, respect your audience. Never embarrass your audience. This was also taught to me from different situations. One was from Jerry Andrus. He talked about the stupid line, hold out your hand, the clean one. What if the person doesn't even have an arm? Maybe they only have one arm and you didn't notice it. You've got to be really careful about these things. Next point, involve your audience. Involving your audience is not just the interactive tricks, like making the sponge balls appear in their hand. It's more than that. It's getting them emotionally, mentally, and physically committed to what is going on, and to really, getting them into the emotional hook through the effects, which we'll talk about, because that's another element. Next is really simple. Point number 7 is to be neat and clean. Use clean props, and have clean fingernails, everything like that, and then to dress good, and to the development of your character and your style, which is another point we'll get into in another podcast. Point number 8 is to be different, unique, and original. When I say be original, I don't just mean change the costume and music, as I've seen a lot of magicians do. It's so much more than that. The 3 pillars are effect, method, and presentation, but actually is to be original in your presentation, in your approach, and not to do all the standard overexposed magic and the popular items. It's to think outside of the box. Someone like a Paul Harrison, things like this. Point number 9, motivation, purpose, and direction. These are 3 things that are important elements in entertainment. Okay? This also ties into choreography, emotion, naturalness, and direction of attention, also known as indirection, which is more modern things, which we're going to have podcasts on all these points. Okay, this one is on how to select strong magic. Next point, number 10, is about, in magic, you want to know, it's about the why. What is your why in the presentation? Not just the how. And when I mean how, I don't just mean the method. I mean how you present it. And then the what. The what is, the 7 plots of magic. You want it to be interesting. There's a whole bunch of other points in that as well. And neo-magic artistry really breaks this down well, which I'm going to start to... I'm going through tons and tons of the strongest books on this. I'm also reading Jamie Ian Swiss's book, Shattering Illusions, which I highly recommend. He goes into a formula that I'm going to bring into this as well. Point number 11. The magic you select should suit your style, image, and personality. So that means, Matt King cannot be Lance Burton and vice versa. You need to go with know your strengths and know your weaknesses, and go for your strengths and steer away from your weaknesses. Don't try to be something you're not, If you're 300 pounds, don't try to be suave and things like that, unless you're doing some comedy thing. Next point, rapport with the audience. You want to have good rapport with them. Next point, make notes on what works and what doesn't. Okay, how do you do that? You videotape your act, videotape your shows, and then you study, and you go over to see the results. You can turn off the audio. You can just watch it visually to see how your show looks visually. Then you can also do the reverse, and that is to just listen to the audio and examine your communications with the audience and how you connect with your audience. The next good point from Jamie Ian Swiss's book, Shattering Illusions, is the reverse of analyzation of the magic. Is not just what is strong magic, but also is make a notebook of tricks that you don't want to do, or tricks not to do. And his formula for that is, number 1, A trick that is too common or too popular. Examples is like overly exposed and popular effects like cigarette through quarter, which he took out of his routine in 1985 because a lot of the TV exposure and things like this. Biting the coin, things like David Blaine and all this stuff in the media we see. The cigarette in the coat, which is obvious the thumb tip. The audience knows about fake thumbs, but that doesn't mean you can't still fool them with them. I'm not trying to say don't do thumb tips, so don't get that wrong. I'm saying this is make a notebook of things, of tricks that you're not going to use, stuff that doesn't work, and stuff that you don't want to do. Ping pong ball in the nose, Chinese sticks, things that are just, they're just too commonplace. And I'm not talking about the classics here, like cups and balls, because there will always be ways to present those in new and unique original ways. Next point. The next point of the formula from Jamie in Swiss is when I conclude that some other performer has found what amounts to a definitive presentation for an effect. On rare occasions. This is rare occasions, and this is also subject to change. Okay, the next thing to look for when selecting the magic to add to your repertoire is avoid complex plots. Be careful with kicker endings because they can be anticlimactic. Use direct and clear-cut effects. His formula also for selecting magic for your routine is audience involvement, emotional hook, visuality or visual effects, inherent humor, and high concept. In another podcast, we're going to go into detail on every one of these points. Okay, Eugene Berger has said in his books like Mastering the Art of Magic, and I highly recommend Eugene Berger. He's got some of the strongest theories on magic. Coding the hoax to take away the sting of fooling the spectator. Jeff McBride has also talked about this, of course, because they're good friends. And what that means is that when you're fooling the spectator over and over again, you're just fooling them. It means that sometimes you can use a story, or you can use another spectator in the audience, or you can change the approach to your presentation, and you can take the sting out of them by saying, this is not me fooling you, this is the story, or this is someone else doing it, so that you're not, just fooling them so hard. Because yes, it is about fooling them, but it's not making them feel, uncomfortable about it. Because you want them to lose themselves in the presentation, so they're not thinking about being fooled as much as they're thinking about entertainment. Entertainment should be the overriding factor so that they come with you on the journey. A good example of selecting a strong effect with coins is Chris Korn's coin routine, She Holds the Money, and I would refer to that. So that's our podcast for today, guys. Hope you got a lot out of this. If you'd like to find out more, head on over to promagicart.com. Please like, subscribe, and share this with all your friends. Thank you very much. Have a good day.